Domination is the word that comes to mind for Team Apuzo in week number 1 after becoming the 4th team in Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse history to complete a 3-game sweep in a single week. 11-1 in quarter wins, racking up 355 total win points, and as a result, all 4 captains this week come from Team Apuzo. Certainly it's going to be interesting to see what Sam Apuzo, the captain last week, will do to construct her team here tonight for this Week 2 draft special. Hi, everyone, and welcome inside our studios. I'm John Brickley. What a week it was in week number 1 of Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. And we've got 4 captains who a week ago were wearing orange. This week, they're all rivals. And it certainly will be interesting to see what will happen with each one of these respective captains as we get set for week 2 of this draft special. And with that, we say hello, welcome inside our studios. I'm John Brickley, and if you're new to Athletes Unlimited, no worries. We want to thank you for joining us here on our YouTube channel, and a special thanks to our Unlimited Club members. Always appreciative of your support. Unlimited Club members, that inside access and rare access to team rooms and players. All right, so let's get to the draft rules here of week 2 of this draft special, and this is how it works. There are 14 players on each team, but the captains represent the first pick for their respective teams. So each captain is going to select 13 players to form their roster. Now the draft order will snake, starting with the purple captain. Every captain then will get 2 minutes per pick, and they do have to pick players in a certain category. So when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they have a designated position. The captains must select 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. That is the roster position breakdown here for Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. All right, so we've got the captains here, and we start with purple and Dempsey Arsenal. How about this for this individual? She totaled 451 total points after being the top pick for Team Apuzo, 355 win points and 96 stat points. She was number 1 in ground balls, helping assist Team Apuzo to that 3-0 week. A standout player, as you may recall from her time with Boston College, the captain of Team Arsenal this week, donning number 11, there she is, Dempsey Arsenal. And the facilitator this week alongside Dempsey will be Amber Hill. All right, here we go. This time it's for Team Apuzo. She was the architect of that week 1 domination. Back in her second week as captain, she racked up 467 total points, earning 82 stat points and 355 win points. Her 7 assists were tops in week 1. Some have called her the Magic Johnson of women's lacrosse, former Tewaaraton winner and the captain of Team Apuzo, number 14 attacker, Sam Apuzo. And her facilitator this week, it's going to be Amber Hill. All right, so we move on. This individual put on a clinic last Saturday, earning her first career hat trick in Athletes Unlimited. She tallied 206 points in a Saturday win over Team Reed. For the week, she amassed 576 points, just 6 back of first, 355 win points, and 146 stat points. Her 7 goals were tied for first last week. The captain for Team Johansen, the former USC star herself, number 7, Amanda Johansen. And Christy Foote is going to be her facilitator this week. And there they are in the Team Johansen draft room. And lastly, the captain for the gold team with a point total of 581. This individual could not be stopped between the pipes. 151 stat points, along with 355 win points. Sunday saw a record-breaking performance with 241 leaderboard points, including MVP 1 honors. Not bad for your rookie debut. A national champion in her time at North Carolina. There she is, the goalie, number 77, Taylor Mourinho, who is the captain for Team Mourinho. And Nicole Flores is going to be the facilitator for Team Mourinho here tonight in the draft room with her. All right, so there we go. Here they are. These are the 4 captains. Gold with the top point getter, followed by orange, blue, and purple. We will talk with those captains throughout the night and find out their selections. Let's take a look at the schedule coming up on Thursday. These games Thursday, Saturday, and on Sunday. Thursday's games on ESPN2 and on ESPNU. Games also available on ESPN Plus over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for Week 2 schedule of Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. All right, so here's how the scoring system works. Players earn a variety of points in many ways, and these points are used to create an individual leaderboard. Players can either earn or lose through stat points. Every point counts in Athletes Unlimited, and you can gain or lose stat points with every play during a game. In addition, players are awarded an additional 20 points if their team wins a single quarter, and athletes on the winning team each earn 455, or I should say 45, individual points on each leaderboard. We are set to go, ready for the draft, and Dempsey, you're on the board and ready to go with the first pick.
Midfielder, Marie McCool.
All right, so there we go. A new number 1. Last week it was Charlotte North. This week, Marie McCool out of North Carolina, a native of New Jersey. Her cause being Harlem Lacrosse. So Dempsey Arsenal, the captain this week for Team Arsenal, going with the midfielder in Marie McCool. And she is now in the draft room, donning that purple this coming Thursday for Team Arsenal. And Sam Apuzzo ready to go with her first selection.
Midfielder, Ali Mastriani.
Ali Mastriani goes to Team Apuzzo with the second pick of this first round. Another North Carolina Tar Heel is off the board. Mastriani, one of the top performers in women's lacrosse. Sam Apuzzo, of course, the architect of last week's dominant performance with her team going 3-0 this week. Captain for a second straight week as Mastriani joins in on the draft room for Team Apuzzo. The 2 picks already in for Team Arsenal and Team Apuzzo. And Amanda is ready to go with her first pick with Team Johansen.
Midfielder, Haley Warden.
All right, Haley Warden, who was 6th in points in the standings in week number 1, totaled 431 leaderboard points. You may recall she was part of that 2018 national championship team for James Madison. Last week, don't forget, midfielder, 6 of the first 10 picks last week. And so that theme is certainly continuing. Haley Warden off the board inside the draft room now of Team Johansen. Will be wearing the orange this coming Thursday for Team Johansen. Warden, the first midfielder taken by Team Johansen. Last pick of the first round, Taylor has it. Let's hear what her pick is.
Midfielder, Lizzie Mcmahon.
All right, so there we go. Another midfielder is off the board for Team Mourinho, making her first pick, the last one of the opening round. She'll also start round number 2 with this snake draft. Out of Northwestern Macomb, so Lindsay is going to be wearing gold this coming week for Team Mourinho. So no time to waste for Team Mourinho. After she picked in the final selection of round number 1, she's going to start round number 2 as Lindsay now joins in. She, along with the facilitator and the team captains, that Zoom chat room is going to get bigger and bigger as more players are drafted to their respective teams. And here is a look at who is available for each specific position. 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, defenders and goalies, and all ready to go is Taylor with the first pick in round 2.
Attacker, Jamie Ortega.
A lot of North Carolina Tar Heels coming off the board. No surprise with Team Moreno and their captain and Taylor, part of that national championship team back in 2016. She goes with a fellow Tar Heel in Jamie Ortega in the attack position after McCone was taken with her first pick as a midfielder. So the first 2 picks are in for Team Moreno. As you see, Jamie joining in on the chat. And all smiles for North Carolina fans. And 1 pick into the second round, Jamie Ortega. If you are just joining us, Team Arsenal picked Marie McCool. Team Apuzzo went Ali Mastriani, Haley Warden, and Lindsay McMahon to round out the first round. Amanda, ready to go with her pick.
Attacker Lauren Gilbert.
So Lauren Gilbert is off the board. Team Johansen making the selection here in round number 2. What a performance Lauren Gilbert had in week 1 for Team Apuzzo. 438 leaderboard points, 355 win points. She also had 38 stat points. How about 7 goals in her rookie debut, part of a SportsCenter top 10 with her performance. 4 in her first game alone in terms of goal scoring, earning MVP1 honors as Lauren has joined in, ready to go for Team Johansen, along with the facilitator and Hallie Warden as well, part of the Orange this week for Team Johansen. The back-to-back attack selected here in round number 2 after Jamie Ortega was taken by Team Mourinho. Here's Team Johansen going with Lauren Gilbert. Sam, who do you got here in round 2?
Attacker Charlotte North.
There we go. Charlotte North, the number 1 pick last week. I see the trend that Team Apuzzo is going with. Last week, they drafted number 1 Dempsey Arsenal. Here, wasting no time, taking a fellow Boston College Eagle in Charlotte North, the 2-time Tewaaraton winner. Hat trick in her first game, helping Team Reed in week 1. How about 8 points total? And in fact, she became the 3rd different player in league history to score a pair of 2-point goals in the same game. Those 7 goals that she had were tied with Gilbert and Johansen for the most in week number 1. And there she is. We see her finally in the draft room with Team Apuzzo. A couple of Boston College stars joining up this time in Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse. Mastriani and North. And finally, that leaves us with Dempsey Arsenal, Team Arsenal, ready to go with her pick.
Attacker Kenzie Kent.
Here we go. The trend continues. Another Boston College star is off the board. Back-to-back, this time Kenzie Kent, a 2-star athlete in her time at Boston College in women's lacrosse, part of that championship weekend that included Sam Apuzzo and Dempsey Arsenal. Her cause, Team Impact, as Kenzie Kent, the final pick in round number 2. And there they are, all together, along with Marie McCool and their facilitator inside that draft room. And the captain now can rely on not only the facilitator, but the players that she picks to help with the rest of the draft. Here's what the first 2 rounds look like, as it was Jamie Ortega, Lauren Gilbert, Charlotte North, and Kenzie Kent to round out the second round here in the week 2 draft. As we continue wait on Team Arsenal, this snake draft, picking last in round number 2. Dempsey Arsenal's going to pick number 1 in round number 3. And while we wait for Dempsey to make her pick, a reminder as well that tickets are on sale. You don't want to miss your chance to see the excitement in person at the USA Lacrosse headquarters in Sparks, Maryland. Tickets right now are available at auprosports.com, with the season running from July 21st all the way through August 14th. And this is what Dempsey is looking at right now with her fellow teammates and facilitator. Attackers, you need 4 of them, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. Dempsey, round 3, who you got?
Midfielder Allie Kennedy.
All right, Allie Kennedy, a name that rings well in week number 1 of Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse. This is what she did yesterday in week 1, helping Team Reed to victory. How about an overtime goal, earning her MVP1 honors? You may remember she was a star at Stony Brook. She represented Team USA in the World Lax Games, where she had 11 goals in that gold medal run. And there is Allie inside the draft room, pumped up, ready to go. Team Arsenal happy so far with the selections. Another midfielder is off the board, so 3 midfielders Team Arsenal has gone with, including their captain in Dempsey Arsenal. And while we wait for the third round to continue, a reminder as well, it's time to earn points for watching. You can enter the code on the screen that you see into your Athletes Unlimited app to earn points and move up the leaderboard. To get the app, download it today for free at your app store and get access to great AU content and experiences all season long. All right, Sam Apuzzo, the team captain for Team Apuzo inside her draft room, getting ready to make her selection for round number 3, coordinating with her facilitator, who in a sense acts like the assistant GM. Then you've got the players that she has drafted so far, including Ali Mastriani and Charlotte North, to give some input. And Sam is ready to go with her third pick.
Midfielder, Kelsey Huff.
Kelsey Huff, another midfielder. It's been the trend so far in week 1. It's kind of been the trend so far here in week number 2. So after taking a midfielder with her first pick in Ali Mastriani and following it up with Charlotte North, Kelsey Huff, with her cause being Harlem Lacrosse, out of the hotbed of Eastport, New York. She is now the second midfielder taken for Team Apuzo as she now enters the draft room. It's really interesting to see, especially if you're an unlimited club member, the access that you get to see how the captain, the facilitator work through strategizing, figuring out what direction she wants to go to formulate her team. And we saw last week what Team Apuzo did, a clean sweep in 3-0. We're ready to go. Team Johansen, who do you got?
Defender, Becca Block.
So there we go. The first defender off the board, this time in round number 3 to Team Johansen. Becca Block, the reigning Geiger Defensive Player of the Year out of Syracuse. So Team Johansen, after going midfield and attack, has decided to go with Becca Block with her third pick of the night. And she will be wearing the orange this weekend in Sparks, Maryland. Starting on Thursday, players have an off day on Friday, and then coverage continues Saturday and Sunday. We await Team Mourinho with her final pick of round number 3 as she continues to work her way through and is ready to go. Taylor, who you got here?
Midfielder, Kelly McPartland.
All right, so another midfielder is off the board, heading over to Team Mourinho. Kelly McPartland out of Maryland. So a couple of midfielders so far going to be donning gold, along with attacker Jamie Ortega. Every captain's got to select 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. Now, the interesting note is when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they have a designated position, but they can play those players, the captains can, in any position they want once they have them. But they must draft in certain categories. So here's a look at the draft, and so far, here's a look at the captains continuing to work through, strategizing, figuring out which direction they want to go. Team Apuzo, of course, had the dominating performance in week number 1 with that 3-game sweep. And we're ready to go. Round number 4, Taylor Mourinho, who do you want here for your team?
Defender, Emma Trenchard.
Emma Trenchard, a second defender. This time going to Team Mourinho, wearing gold this weekend. Another North Carolina Tar Heel is off the board. It's been a popular trend that we saw early on in week number 1, continues here in week number 2 of this draft special. Native of Windsor, Connecticut is Emma, taken here in round number 4, and she gets to help out with her captain along with facilitator to figure out which direction these players want to go to give them the best chance of being the top point getter. So a run on midfielder's been the consistent theme thus far, and that list continues to dwindle. There's still a number of attackers, including Nicole Levy at the top of the board, Lizzie Coulson, one of the top defenders. And unlike what we saw last week, where 3 of the 4 captains were goalies, Kaylee Waters, Katie Glenn, and Brit Reed, a number of goalies are still on the board. One goalie this week, Taylor Mourinho, who we just saw pick before, is the lone goalie captain, along with Sam Apuzo, the lone attacker, Amanda Johansen, and Dempsey Arsenal, both midfielders. All right, so we continue to wait. Team Johansen ready to go. Let's hear from Amanda with her pick.
Goalie, Brit Reed.
And there we go. The first goalie is off the board. Brit Reed, a captain last week. Her knowledge and experience is going to be crucial this week for Team Johansen, who has really decided to lock up that defensive unit, starting with the Geiger Defensive Player of the Year back in her third-round selection in Becca Block, and now Brit Reed comes into the fold. She was 15th in the standings, had 29 saves and 28 goals allowed. And here's a look at how the top 4 goalies matched up in terms of save percentage. Of course, number 1, Taylor Mourinho, who allowed only 15 goals while making 26 saves. Those 29 saves, by the way, for Brit Reed were the most of the 4 goalies. And she also has that world experience, international play as well with Team England. Sam Apuzzo, let's go. Who's your pick?
Defender, Lizzie Coulson.
Lizzie Coulson, who was the number 1 defender a week ago in terms of the point total. She, who had a successful run in her time at Maryland, a 2-time national champion, with her cause being Morgan's Message. First defender of the night for Team Apuzzo. She'll be wearing blue this weekend, where Sparks, Maryland, the USA lacrosse headquarters, is located just right outside of Baltimore. And Lizzie, there she is, on hand in the draft room for Team Apuzzo. A solid selection in the 4th round for Team Apuzzo, as Lizzie Coulson is off the board. And so what we're seeing right now is the captains continuing to work through their draft strategy. What you're seeing right now are the league leaders in cause turnovers, and Lizzie Coulson, along with Marie McCool and Kelly McPartland, all 3 have been drafted and are off the board. So all these captains this week certainly looking in and zeroing in, I should say, on defenders, as those 3, as mentioned, already drafted. Dempsey is ready to go with her selection.
Attacker, Aurora accordingly.
Okay, so another attacker off the board here for this final pick of round number 4. Kenzie Kent, the first attacker taken, now Aurora accordingly out of Maryland, a native of Ontario, Canada, with her cause being Morgan's Message. So 3 midfielders and 2 attack for Team Arsenal thus far. And I've mentioned the causes for all these players who are playing for a specific charity or cause. What's great about Athletes Unlimited is that half the leaderboard bonus is going to be matched and donated to those specific charities. Best through 4th round so far: Team Mourinho, Team Johansen, Team Apuzzo, and Team Arsenal. In this Week 2 draft, season number of 2, in the Snake Draft, Team Arsenal will have back-to-back picks, ending round number 4, beginning round number 5. And these are the players that all the captains are looking at, the ones that are remaining. Each team's got to select 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. So a number of talented players in a variety of positions still available and on the board to be drafted by these respective captains. And keep in mind, these captains who are working with their facilitators and the players that they drafted, their teammates, in figuring out who they want to have selected, they've only got 2 minutes per pick. And the later the rounds go in these drafts, the more difficult and the more challenging it becomes. Automatic drops also play a factor, as well, as we take a look inside the draft room for Team Arsenal, who last week was wearing orange, this week wearing purple. Dempsey, start us off here in round number 5.
Defender, Courtney Taylor.
Okay, so after midfielders and attackmen were the common theme and the trend for Team Arsenal, she bucks that trend in round 5. Courtney Taylor, another Boston College alum, with her cause being Team Impact, is the first defender selected for Team Arsenal here in round number 5. And she'll make her way, will Courtney, into the draft room for Team Arsenal and join the likes of her teammates with Marie McCool, Kenzie Kent, Allie Kennedy, Aurora accordingly. So much intrigue this week as well because of what happened last week with Team Apuzzo going 3-0. And there is Courtney joining us now with the wave and the wave back from her teammates. And as I mentioned, it was such a dominating performance from Team Apuzzo that all 4 players who were wearing orange last week are now captains. Sam Apuzzo returning for a second week as captain. And if you're just joining us, the way that it works out in terms of the colors, gold is the top point getter for the week, followed by orange, blue, and purple. That is how the captains are seated in terms of 1 through 4 and how the snake draft works. And the rosters, as we wait for Team Apuzzo, as Ali Mastriani, Charlotte North were her first 2 selections. And Sam is ready to go with her pick.
Midfielder, Katie O'Donnell.
Katie O'Donnell out of Penn State, a veteran of the sport, taken in round 5 by Team Apuzzo, a native of Westchester, Pennsylvania, with her cause being Team Impact. So the third midfielder joining Huff and Mastriani for Team Apuzzo. That leaves Sam with just one opportunity left to pick up a midfielder. The rest of the way, he's only picked up 1 defender and 1 attacker in Charlotte North. And you can see Katie O'Donnell there in the draft room for Team Apuzzo. And she is happy to be a part of Team Apuzzo wearing the blue this coming week. So this is just an overview of how Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse works. You've got 56 of the best athletes in the world playing women's lacrosse, which is the only professional women's lacrosse league in the world, by the way. An innovative scoring system that I touched upon, and a top 4 point leaders are weekly team captains, with all the games certainly played Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Team Johansen continues to dive through the information, work through conversations with our facilitator. And Amanda, you are ready to go with your selection. Who you got?
Midfielder, Alyssa Perella.
Okay, so another midfielder taken, this time in round number 5 for Team Johansen, after she went goalie back in round 4 with Brit Reed. This time back to offense. Perella, a star at Hofstra, taken in the 5th round, the third midfielder, along with her captain, Team Johansen's, Amanda Johansen, I should say, the third midfielder. So she's got one more midfielder that she's got to fill that requirement, as Alyssa now joins in on the draft room for Team Johansen. Team Mourinho getting ready for the final pick of this 5th round.
Midfielder, Jill Girardi.
Again, midfielder, what we have seen to be a theme for all 4 of these captains. So Emma Trenchard, who went in the 4th round for Team Mourinho as a defender. Jill Girardi out of Northwestern, native of Watertown, New York. One of the top draw control leaders in week 1, had 7 last week. She will be donning the gold this coming weekend in Sparks, Maryland. Team Mourinho wanting to lock up the draw control, which is so crucial in women's lacrosse in terms of setting the pace, setting the momentum, and getting the early strikes on cage. So we are through 5 rounds here in this week 2 draft, and because of the snake draft, Team Mourinho is going to be drafting number 1 in this 6th round. Here's what she has done to this point so far, along with Team Johansen, Team Apuzzo, and Team Arsenal. Again, if you're just joining us, last week it was 6 midfielders taken in the first 10 selections by the respective captains. This week, midfielders have become a popular choice among the 4 captains. And Taylor is ready to go. Round number 6. Taylor, who you have?
Midfielder, Courtney Fortunato. Attacker, Courtney Fortunato.
Courtney Fortunato, attacker out of Notre Dame. The second attacker, along with Jamie Ortega, with her cause being We Fight Like Girls out of Northport, New York. Fortunato bringing a veteran presence to Team Mourinho, wearing the gold this week in Sparks, Maryland. A very solid selection here in round number 6 to begin things, as she will join in on the draft room for Team Mourinho. And again, the captain, along with the facilitator, and the rest of the captain's picks all are in the same Zoom room, going through, facilitating what the strategy will be the rest of the way. But look at this. Every team's got to have 4 midfielders. There's only 4 midfielders left. There's a ton of defenders, a number of goalies, and still a number of talented attackers left on the board for these captains to look at. But As mentioned, midfielders have been the choice for all of these captains to take early on in the early stages of this draft. What will these captains do the rest of the way? Because you only have 4 midfielders left. It'll be interesting to see whether they go attack, defender, or goalie for more of these rounds. We'll have to see. But Taylor working with the rest of her teammates and facilitator to figure out what she wants to do in round number 6. And Team Johansen, after Taylor made her selection, is ready to go. Amanda, who have you selected?
Defender, Caroline Wakefield.
All right, so a defender off the board, Caroline Wakefield. The selection for Team Johansen, wearing the orange uniform this weekend. Another North Carolina Tar Heel taken. And the second defender, she'll be joining Becca Block, who, as mentioned, was the Geiger Defensive Player of the Year last season. Team Johansen going with defense here in round number 6. Sam Apuzzo, the captain for Team Apuzzo, ready to go with her pick.
Defender, Kayla Wood.
Kayla Wood, a defender, this time is going to be heading to Team Apuzzo after the 6th round selection and can still wear the powder blue. A North Carolina grad, Kayla Wood, whose cause is Harlem Lacrosse, out of the hotbed Baltimore, Maryland. And you have to give a lot of credit to Sam Apuzzo for what she did in week number 1 with her selections, leading to a 3-0 record, just the 4th time we've seen that in Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse. Dempsey, you're ready to go. Who do you have?
Goalie, Kaylee Waters. Sorry.
Kaylee Waters, part of the North Carolina National Championship team from years ago out of Darien, Connecticut. With her cause being Harlem Lacrosse, she was a captain a week ago. In fact, she was the top point getter from last year returning. So she is now taken off the board. And so Waters, the first goalie taken for Team Arsenal. Let's take a look at what happened back in week 1 with these top 4 goalies in terms of save percentage. Kaylee had her struggles, just 43% in terms of save percentage, allowing 23 goals and 17 saves. So you have to know that she's got to want to prove something coming up in week number 2. And again, as the snake draft continues, Dempsey will be making the selection to start round number 7. She's ready to go.
Defender, Meg Dowdy.
All right, so a defender is off the board in the form of Meg Dowdy. As Dempsey Arsenal, the captain for Team Arsenal this week, wearing the purple to start off round number 7. And Meg Dowdy out of New Jersey, one of the top defenders in her time at Maryland, part of their national championship history with the Terps. She is off the board, so Courtney Taylor and Meg Dowdy, 2 defenders that'll be wearing purple this coming weekend for Team Arsenal, who started off early in the trend of midfield, followed by Kenzie Kent, and accordingly in the attack, already has her goalie selected in terms of Kaylee Waters, as Meg Dowdy joining in. Hopefully she's not driving, by the way. Hopefully she's in the passenger seat there. Hey, by the way, want to let you know, new season, new look, new merch. Be sure to check out all the brand new Athletes Unlimited items, including lacrosse player names and number tees. Go to shop.auprosports.com to purchase yours today. 7th round, Sam, let us know who you're selecting.
Attacker, Sam Geiersbach.
All right, so another attacker is off the board. Team Apuzzo going with attack, joining her along with Charlotte North. Guys are back out of North Carolina with her cause being Preston's League, another hotbed of lacrosse in West Babylon, New York. So 3 attackers for Team Apuzzo. She needs 1 more to fill that 4 requirement. She's also had 3 midfielders off the board as well and 2 defenders. So still looking perhaps maybe in round number 8 to go goalie. We'll have to see what the strategy is the rest of the way as Sam joins in on the Zoom for Team Apuzzo in that draft room. And Team Johansen ready to go with their 7th round pick.
Midfielder, Grace Griffin.
So another Terp is taken this time for Team Johansen. And another midfielder that leaves just a couple more remaining. Grace Griffin, this time taken in round number 7, will be wearing orange, playing just outside of Baltimore in Sparks, Maryland, where the USA Lacrosse headquarters hail. Again, a reminder as well, you can catch the games on Thursday with the players having an off day on Friday. And games continuing on Saturday and Sunday. Joe Beninati, Courtney Martinez-Connor will have the call for you all 3 days. So Grace Griffin, as another Maryland grad, is off the board. Team Mourinho ready to go with her selection.
Defender, Cookie Carr.
Cookie Carr off the board in round number 7 to wrap it up. We'll be wearing gold this weekend in action as the Baltimore native not have to go far. Maybe a good fan base comes out to see Kristen Carr, nicknamed Cookie, out of North Carolina. And so another defender, this time the second one, along with Emma Trenchard. So a couple of North Carolina selections here by Team Mourinho. No surprise there after her success in a Tar Heel uniform. And while we wait for the start of the 8th round here on this Week 2 Draft Special, and you can meet Taylor herself, meet and greet her as part of the Unlimited Club members. You can upgrade or join as an MVP or as a captain to join. If you're a softball fan, earlier you must have talked to Amanda Chittister if you were part of the Unlimited Club and as part of meet and greet following tonight's draft special coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. As this draft continues, we've seen midfielders taken early, attack as well, but now these captains in the latter stages have a little bit more of the focal point going towards goalies and defenders as this snake draft continues. And Taylor is ready to go here to start the 8th round.
Attacker, Scotty Rose Growney.
All right, so Scotty Rose Growney is heading to Team Mourinho, donning the gold this weekend. Another North Carolina grad, with her cause being Morgan's Meshes. Again, I mentioned this before, but players playing for specific causes where half the leaderboard bonus for them will be matched and donated to their respective charity. One of the great things that Athletes Unlimited does for a number of their sports. So Team Mourinho, the draft room continues to fill up with players. Scotty Rose Growney, the latest to join in on Team Mourinho, wearing the gold this weekend, as Ortega, Fortunato, and now Rose Growney all in the attack position. And so we wait for Team Johansen to make her selection. Only 3 midfielders remain. Still a number of good attackers on the board. And she's already picked the 4 midfielders, including herself, to Team Johansen. So now she's got to focus on defenders and goalies as well. But still, a lot of talent to be had out there, especially for Team Johansen, working her way through, strategizing, figuring out who she wants to take. And Amanda, who do you want?
Attacker, Nicole Levy.
All right, so Nicole Levy took a little bit of a long time, but Nicole is off the board. She's going to be wearing the orange this weekend for Team Johansen, and she certainly had a good week in week number 1. 424 leaderboard points, 54 stat points. She also had that 6-goal performance along with 4 assists. She's gotten 15 straight games with a goal, including 3 career hat tricks. So you know Nicole Levy is one of the dominating performers in the attack position and is going to put some points on the board this coming weekend for Team Johansen. And you can see, as Nicole joined in on the draft room, one of the league leaders in terms of goal performance in week 1, Charlotte North, Lauren Gilbert, Amanda Johansen, who of course is one of the captains for Team Johansen, all in the driver's seat when it came to goals scored with 7, and then Nicole on just the outside looking in. 6 goals on 14 shots with a shooting percentage of just over 43%. So we continue to roll on. We're waiting for Team Apuzzo to see which direction she goes. She went with Ali Mastriani and Charlotte North in her first 2 selections, followed it up with Kelsey Huff and Lizzie Coulson, and now we have to see which way she wants to go. Had that great week a week ago. Still potentially a goalie, perhaps. Last week she was the only non-goalie of the 4 captains. This week, potentially she could go captain with this pick. She did select, remember, Taylor Mourinho as the first goalie off the board last week outside of the captain. So we'll have to see as all four captains continue to strategy right now. We'll have to see which direction Sam wants to go. And just a reminder as well, for every assist during this year's Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse season, Aspiration is planting 10 trees. Heading into this week, how about this? A number of trees have been committed this season thanks to Aspiration's support. And a big reason why is Sam Apuzzo, because as I mentioned, she's been the assist queen of women's lacrosse, the Magic Johnson, if you will, with how she's able to dish out assists to her fellow teammates. We saw that in week one, thanks to a 3-0 record. And Sam has been all smiles tonight in the draft room, and she is ready to go with her pick.
Goalie, Katie Glenn.
Katie Glenn, who was a captain last week, and this week is now going to be a part of Team Apuzzo. And so Glenn, who was second among goalies, allowing 22 while making 24 stops. If you go back to her time at Loyola, Maryland, she was the inaugural recipient of the 2019 Patriot League Goalie of the Year. So Katie Glenn, the first goalie, taking off the board for Team Apuzzo, is going to be in between the pipes this coming weekend for Team Apuzzo. And the draft room continues to get bigger with the facilitator and all the players as well entering into the Zoom chat. Dempsey Arsenal with the final pick of this round.
Attacker, Hallie Majorana.
Hallie Majorana off the board. One of two Sports Center top 10s in week number one. A native of New Jersey, having played her college at North Carolina. And that's a big get in round number 8 for Dempsey Arsenal. And interesting note, Hallie was the one who scored the first ever goal in Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse. So 3 attackers, 1 more to go for Dempsey Arsenal in her selection to continue to build Team Arsenal. But it will be Hallie Majorana who is going to be wearing the purple this coming weekend in Sparks, Maryland. And as we continue through the rounds, these are the athletes still available on the board here in this Week 2 draft special. You have 5 attackers still left remaining, 3 midfielders. We saw that trend early on. Midfielders was a popular choice among these captains. A number of defenders and just a handful of goalies still are available for these captains to pick. Now again, here's how the roster position breaks down in Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. There could be a sense of automatic drops, the latter that we go, where a captain is required to pick a certain position because they need to fill that. And so we go round number 9. Dempsey on the board, ready to make her pick.
Defender, Allie Palermo.
Allie Palermo taken in round number 9 to begin things. So 2 of the last 3 picks for Team Arsenal going in the way of defense, having played at Northwestern with her cause being One Love Foundation. And if you call Kaylee Waters as well, it's really 3 out of the 4 she's focused on the defense. So after going midfielder, including herself with 3 of the first 4 picks, now she's focused more on the defensive unit in 3 of her last 4 picks as Allie joins in on the draft room for Team Arsenal. And as those players hear their names, they are zoomed into their respective draft rooms, and they can help the captain out along with the facilitator to figure out what happens the rest of the way. Sam Apuzzo ready to go in round number 9.
Attacker, Alex Oss-Holman.
Alex Oss-Holman is going to be donning the powder blue once again. This time, it's going to be with Team Apuzzo out of Maryland. Her husband, Marcus Holman, who was a star this year in the PLL. Alex just popping into the draft room. Again, Marcus Holman credited his wife after winning MVP honors and the most accurate shot. So credit to her as she will join in round number 9, selected to wear the blue this week for Team Apuzzo out of Maryland. And if you're just joining us, here's how the teams have formulated as we have 2 more picks to go in round number 9. Team Mourinho, Team Johansen, Team Apuzzo, and Team Arsenal. All 4, interestingly enough, were teammates a week ago. And this week they are rival captains. And Team Johansen ready to make her pick.
Defender, Katrina Geiger.
All right, so a defender is off the board. Katrina Geiger is heading to Team Johansen this week to wear orange out of Drexel, Pennsylvania, another Loyola Maryland grad. With her cause, support a sport. And so that makes it 3 defenders for Team Johansen, along with Becca Block and Caroline Wakefield. She went goalie with Brit Reed back in round number 4, as Katrina has now entered the Zoom room for Team Johansen as the former USC star captain this week, looking to formulate her team with 4 more picks left to go in this Week 2 draft special. And all those players continue to work alongside their captain and facilitator to figure out what requirements need to be made to fulfill those right requirements, who are the best players to make the best fit for their team. And so while we have a chance, let's take a look at what the Week 2 schedule is going to look like. Everything gets underway Thursday with Team Apuzzo going up against Team Johansen in the 5 o'clock hour on ESPN2. Team Mourinho and Team Arsenal are going to make battle off at 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPNU. Saturday and Sunday, you can see those games either on ESPN Plus or on ESPN2. Joe Beninati and Courtney Martinez-Connor will have the call for you. And those games, again, played from the USA Lax headquarters from Sparks, Maryland, as we take a sneak peek in Team Mourinho's draft room as we wait the final pick of round number 9. Midfielders attack were the early trend. We've seen defenders and goalies go later on in this draft to meet the necessary requirements. And here's what Taylor has done so far. Lizzie Mcmahon along with Jamie Ortega. And because of this snake draft, she'll have the last pick in round number 9 and the first pick in round number 10. And Taylor is ready to go.
Attacker, Molly Stevens.
Okay, so Molly Stevens will be wearing gold this coming weekend, playing for Team Mourinho in this Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse season number 2. The former Florida Gator out of Maryland, with her cause being Morgan's Message. And so Molly Stevens joining in on the draft room for Team Mourinho. And you'll notice, too, there's a confirmation team as well to see if the picks work and see if the captains have that open slot to their respective roster. Each captain has to select 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. And 9 rounds are in the books as we wait for Team Mourinho to make the first selection of round number 10. Here is how the draft has laid out so far. Dempsey Arsenal went number 1 this time with Marie McCool. Charlotte North wasn't selected until the 2nd round, the 7th overall pick for Team Apuzzo, the 2-time Tewaaraton winner who was last week's number 1 pick. Becca Block, who was the Geiger Defensive Player of the Year last season, was taken off the board in the 3rd round by Team Johansen. And then we saw in that 4th round defense along with goalies, with Emma Trenchard taken by Team Mourinho and Brit Reed. Team Johansen going goalie in that round. But so much intrigue coming into this Week 2 draft special based on the fact that all 4 team captains played together in Team Apuzzo with that 3-0 dominated week. One of them, including Taylor Mourinho, ready to go with her first pick of round 10.
Defender, Kira Pelton.
Okay, so defense is where round number 10 takes Team Mourinho, wearing gold this coming weekend. Pelton, who played at Stanford, had a successful run with the Cardinal. The Out Foundation will be her cause that she's playing for this year. The 3 defenders selected by Team Mourinho. The lone goalie this week, after we saw 3 of the 4 team captains were goalies in week number 1 of Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse in year number 2. A lot of great talent, a lot of newcomers as well coming into year number 2. You've got a couple of talented attackers in Izzy Mcmahon and Sammy Jo Tracy still left on the board. You were looking to potentially get a midfielder. That was the hot pick early. Sydney Watson, Kerrigan Miller still on the board. Molly Little along with Amber McKenzie, Sarah Cooper among the defenders still available for these captains to pick. And we've got 4 goalies still on the board, including Molly Wolf and Molly Dougherty as well. And Team Johansen is ready to go. Amanda, who do you like in this round?
Attacker, Sammy Jo Tracy.
All right, so Sammy Jo Tracy, who has the international experience, having played with Team Israel, another North Carolina grad who helped the Tar Heels and Jenny Levy to their first national championship back in 2013. Her cause being Harlem Lacrosse, and one of the biggest game winners against Maryland to give North Carolina their first national championship is Sammy Jo Tracy, who's been a great ambassador, by the way, for the sport of women's lacrosse. She is off the board, taken in round number 10 for Team Johansen. And Sam Apuzzo, ready to go. Sam, who you like in this round?
Defender, Ella Simpkins.
All right, so another defender is off the board after going attack in 2 of the last 3 picks. Ella Simpkins out of Centerport, New York, having played her college at Syracuse. Her cause being Team Impact. Ella Simpkins is going to be donning the blue this week for Team Apuzzo. And by the way, happy birthday to Sammy Jo Tracy. I just found out it was her birthday today. Happy 21st. No, I'm just kidding. Big thanks to Joe Beninati helping us out here. The voice of Athletes Unlimited Women's Lacrosse. Again, him and Courtney Martinez-Connor are going to have all the action this weekend. Always enjoy Joe B on the call for women's lacrosse, especially in Athletes Unlimited. So Ella Simpkins is off the board, and so that leaves Team Arsenal ready to go with her selection.
Attacker, Shayna Praka.
All right, so attacker is the way that Team Arsenal goes in round number 10. Again, as the snake draft continues, it's going to be Team Arsenal selecting number 1 to start off round 11. Shayna Praka out of Florida, native of Mount Sinai, New York. She will be wearing the purple this weekend for Team Arsenal. And so that is the 4th and final pick that Team Arsenal goes with attack, joining Kenzie Kent, Aurora Accordingly, and Ali Majorani. So there we go. So that is a look at Team Arsenal as the facilitator, along with the team captain, Team Arsenal, looking through and seeing what options are available. Few and far between as we work our way through the final 3 rounds of this draft. And a snake draft that includes Team Arsenal starting off round number 11 after making the final pick just moments ago. So here's what's available. Team Arsenal already has selected 4 attackers, so Izzy Mcmahon is off the table, but you see the midfielders, defenders, and goalies that are still on the board for these captains to select from. They have to pick 4 attackers, 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. And Dempsey, ready to go. Who do you like in this pick?
Defender, Sarah Cooper.
So defense is where Team Arsenal goes. 2 of the last 3 have been defense. Sarah Cooper out of Lutherville, Maryland. Her cause, One Love Foundation. And so she will be joining in on the draft room for Team Arsenal. And that is her 4th and final defender, taken by Team Arsenal, who still has 1 midfielder left to select and 1 goalie as well to select. So we'll have to see what direction Dempsey wants to go with her final 2 selections. But all those players in the draft room helping out Team Arsenal, along with their facilitator, figure out who they want to select. And again, here's the roster breakdown. 4 attackers. Every captain has to pick 4 midfielders, 4 defenders, and 2 goalies. But again, when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they have a designated position, as you see there, but they can play those players, though the captains, in any position that they want once they have them, but they have to draft them in those categories. Those are part of the rules of the draft of Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. So as we work our way through the next round, Sam Apuzzo, who last week went 3-0, standing by with her next selection.
Midfield, Kerrigan Miller.
Kerrigan Miller selected in round number 11 for Team Apuzzo. And that will be the third midfielder selected by Team Apuzzo out of North Carolina. She joins the midfield line with Katie O'Donnell and Kelsey Huff along with Ali Mastriani. So it'll be the fourth and final pick, that Team Apuzzo has in solidifying the 4 midfielders. And that requirement for the specific category to build up the 14-player roster. So again, the captain is the number 1 pick essentially, and then has to pick 13 teammates. But again, Kerrigan Miller is the last one that is off the board here for round number 11 for Team Apuzzo. And you can always stay connected with Athletes Unlimited in a variety of sports. Just follow us on Twitter at AU Pro Sports. You can always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. Every week for the next few weeks, we're going to have the draft special here on YouTube. And the draft room for Team Johansen as we await which direction Amanda Johansen and her team is going to go, working with her facilitator and some of the teammates that she has selected. And Amanda is ready to go with her selection.
Defender, Amber McKenzie.
All right, so defender Amber McKenzie is going to be wearing orange this coming weekend in Sparks, Maryland, out of Westminster, Maryland. In fact, another North Carolina grad is being selected here in Athletes Unlimited. In fact, back-to-back North Carolina grads with Sammy Jo Tracy and now Amber McKenzie, as she will enter the draft room. And there she is for Team Johansen. And Taylor Mourinho ready for her final pick in round number 11.
Midfielder Taylorvanthoff.
Okay, so what we saw early was the midfielder trend kind of waved off a little bit. And so now it is back here with Taylorvanthoff out of Loyola, Maryland, with her cause being Morgan's Message, taken as the final selection of round number 11. Every player playing for a specific cause with half their leaderboard bonus being matched and donated to their specific charity of choice, which is a great cause orchestrated by Athletes Unlimited. And interestingly enough, again, if you're just joining us in terms of why you're seeing the different colors, so gold is the number 1 point getter for the week, followed by orange, blue, and then purple. And then the top 4 point getters get to be captains and select their picks for the upcoming draft. And again, this is why you want to be a member of the Unlimited Club, because you get to meet and greet some of the athletes, including tonight, if you're a star of Taylor Mourinho. She will be available for a meet and greet following the draft here on YouTube. You can upgrade or join as an MVP or as a captain. Again, be a part of the Unlimited Club. You get some incredible access, especially with the meet and greet here. And so this is what these captains are looking at. There's only a few picks left to be made here in week number 2 of season number 2. Izzy Mcmahon and Sydney Watson are the lone attackers and midfielders left on the board. You only have a couple of defenders, and yet now you're probably going to see more of these captains go towards goalies with 4 remaining. They've all got to pick 2 goalies to solidify that requirement. And Taylor, round 12, ready to go. Who do you have?
Defender, Molly Little.
Okay, so defender Molly Little is the choice to begin round number 12. She'll be wearing gold this coming weekend. Having played her college ball at Denver, with her cause being One Love Foundation. So the 4th defender taken by Team Mourinho solidifies that requirement for this upcoming week. And Little, along with Pelton, Carr, and Trenchard, are the 4 members in the defensive unit. And so the 12th round pick moves on to Amanda Johansen, who is ready for the selection.
Goalie, Molly Wolf.
All right, so goalie, we mentioned it in the latter stages of this draft, we're going to be a hot commodity, and thus we have seen it with Team Johansen. Loyola, Maryland's own Molly Wolf out of Baltimore, Maryland, just one of the hotbeds of women's and men's lacrosse. It's just outside of where Sparks, Maryland is, and so that is where the games will be played this coming weekend, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Molly Wolf and Brit Reed, the two goalie choices for Team Johansen. Couple of waves. Excited to be in the draft room is Molly for Team Johansen, ready to don that orange this coming weekend for our Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse season number 2, week number 2. It's Team Apuzzo as we wait for Sam's pick. Here is how Team Mourinho, Team Johansen, Team Apuzzo, and Team Arsenal has drafted thus far. Midfield was the predominant choice early on in this draft. Since then, it's been a mixture of attack, midfield, defense, and goalies. And Sam is standing by. Who do you like with this pick?
Goalie, Mira Shane.
I don't know why. I think Sam every time is ready to think that I'm going to make fun or something of her. I don't know why, but she's got that smile every time she makes her draft pick. Mira Shane, one of the great personalities, is now going to Team Apuzzo, a former Michigan Wolverine. You got to love just the energy that she brings. Does Shane. We saw it last week. DJ, dancer, does everything. Certainly one of the more charismatic players that we see in Athletes Unlimited, and you need that as well, especially as this season progresses. But Mira Shane, one of the great personalities. I don't know if she can do that on a Zoom chat. I'd love to see if she could try doing all those dance moves that we just saw there on the video. But again, she'll be heading to Team Apuzzo after her selection, round number 12. And with that, Dempsey Arsenal is ready to close out round number 12.
Goalie, Paulina Davada.
All right, so back-to-back goalies by a pair of BC grads, a couple of teammates, and this time Davada going out of Pittsburgh, with her cause being Morgan's Message. So she will play alongside Kaylee Waters as the two goalies that will represent Team Arsenal this coming weekend. And as mentioned, those players, once they hear their names, they are zoomed into their respective draft rooms. In this case, Paulina joining in with Team Arsenal so she can help the captain, facilitator, and fellow teammates decide where they want to go with the final pick. Coming up in round number 13 as this snake draft continues, it's going to be Dempsey making the pick in round 13. Her last pick. Dempsey, which way are you going?
Midfielder, Sydney Watson.
And the final midfielder is off the board. Sydney Watson will be wearing purple this weekend. So there you have it. 1 through 14, starting with the captain, Dempsey Arsenal, working all the way down to Sydney Watson, a star out of Yukon, with her cause being the National Center for Victims of Crime. And there you have Team Arsenal, feeling pretty good about themselves. Marie McCool, Kenzie Kent, Allie Kennedy, just a number of the names. Meg Dowdy as well, along with Kaylee Waters. And Sam Apuzzo is ready to go with her final pick.
Defender, Sydney Praka.
All right, so Sydney Praka is an automatic drop-in. This is what the last pick, this is what Team Apuzzo had to do to fill that necessary requirement. She needed a fourth defender, and so the automatic drop-in put Sydney in Team Apuzzo. Out of Florida, she will be the fourth and final defender taken to wrap up that defensive unit for Team Apuzzo. As the draft room continues to get bigger, as the team has been compiled, Sam hoping for the same success that she had just a week ago, where she had a clean sweep, 3-0, just the fourth time that's ever happened in Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse history. And Amanda Johansen standing by with her final selection.
Attacker, Izzy Mcmahon.
All right, so Izzy Mcmahon, another automatic drop as Izzy fulfills that fourth and final requirement for attack for Team Johansen out of USC, with her cause being Morgan's Message. There you have it, 1 through 14, the team for Team Johansen, who will be wearing orange this week. He went early on with Warden and Gilbert. Went defense and goalie in rounds 3 and 4 with Becca Block and Brit Reed. And Taylor ready to go to make the final pick here of week number 2.
Goalie, Molly Dougherty.
All right, so Team Mourinho going with the backup in Molly Dougherty, the goalie, the backup to her, in fact, and CDC, part of that James Madison run to a national championship back in 2018, Morgan's message being her cause. So she is now going to be that second goalie along with the team captain, Taylor Mourinho. And there you have it, 1 through 14, a look at what gold will be. Team Mourinho this coming weekend with games Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here are the final rosters for all 4 teams. Team Mourinho, Team Johansen, Team Apuzzo, and Team Arsenal. Last week, all teammates. This week, rival captains. Who will be the top team and the top point getter coming up this coming weekend, starting on Thursday along with Saturday and Sunday. So here we go. Here's the final wrap-up. All 4 captains, I would say, are pretty pleased with their selection. Sam Apuzzo hoping that she has similar success. Hopefully, her fellow teammates as well wanting that same type of success. But again, a great draft all the way through with 56 players now selected to 4 respective teams. So let's take a look now inside the respective draft rooms. Team Arsenal, a look with Allie Kennedy on board along with Kenzie Kent. Have to be pretty pleased with the selections that Dempsey made. Sam Apuzzo looking to repeat her dominant performance in week 1. Here's a look at her draft room. Team Johansen, the former USC star who had a breakout performance in week number 1. Here's a sneak peek into her draft room. And Team Mourinho with her draft room slowly dwindling down, but ready to go here this weekend as the action starts on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Great day all the way around. Great players selected. Let's take a look one more time at the schedule coming up. Team Apuzzo, Team Johansen, Team Mourinho, and Team Arsenal will be the first matchups coming up on Thursday, with those games on ESPN2 and on ESPNU. Weekend games can be seen on ESPN Plus and on ESPN2. Thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the action this coming weekend from Sparks, Maryland.